Good evening, everyone. I am Samantha Mowat. I'm a clairvoyant psychic and a contactee, and can you believe it is 9:45 at night? It is so bright right now, I can't get over it. And above me are these amazingly bright pink clouds, and anyway, sorry, my guides are telling me I'm getting off track. So today I'd like to discuss with you an extraterrestrial multi-dimensional encounter that I had on January 25th, 2014, and into the next morning, which would be January 26th, 2014. Now what's interesting is it was a bit of an exceptional evening. My husband and I were watching Netflix, and it was quite late at night. And anyway, while we were watching House of Cards, we noticed there was an exceptional amount of activity throughout our home. There were a lot more orbs than normal. There were sparks of many different colors all over the place. We were seeing streaks of light coming in. And at one point, I noticed that off to my right, I had a snake grass plant near the top of my stairs. And I noticed that near the snake grass, there was this white vertical energy, and it kind of moved like this, like it was going quite slow. And when I stopped watching the show for a moment. I looked up, I'm like, I can see you, it's okay. And then it stopped. And while it was stopping, it was looking at me. Like you can feel when something's energy is assessing you, or even focusing its own energetic awareness in your direction. So that was all right. And I went to bed. So a couple hours later, I awoke and I found myself sitting on my bed, which is a floor above my living room. And the one thing that really caught my eye right off the bat is sitting directly in front of me is this beautiful white extraterrestrial being. And he was quite interesting because I could tell right away this was male. And at first I thought, okay, well, what are you? Because it didn't have hair like humans had. At first I thought, are you a variety of gray? What's going on here? Because he was very white, but he was the same height as me when he was sitting. Granted, he's not the same height when he's standing. So he had a very slender frame, and that's a train, by the way, that you may be hearing. And behind him was this interesting vortex on the wall towards the outer section of the building. There was this swirling white and gray and blue energy that all looked like, it kind of looked not fire-like, but it looked like it was very much so alive and moving. Now, as this being is sitting on my bed, right beside me, well, not beside me, pardon me, in front of me, he's gazing very deeply into my eyes. We were maintaining strong eye contact. And I couldn't help but notice how amazingly blue they were. They were almost the color of, I'd say, Caribbean water. I've only ever seen pictures of the Caribbean water, but that's the closest thing I can attribute it to based upon what I've seen. And while he's sitting beside, like right across from me, our auras are within one another's presence. We were so close. It was amazing. But he was speaking to me. Pardon me, there's a mosquito on me. And while he was speaking to me, I noticed that we were speaking to one another, but I noticed, oh my goodness, his lips aren't moving. And then I feel my energy, it's like, oh my goodness, my lips aren't moving. And my energy was starting to go from being a state of calmness to having anxiety and concern over control of the situation, and then feeling overwhelmed. And I could feel my energy, and it was going from being, energy often does this, where it kind of fluctuates in and out, to almost like it was swirling masses and going like this all around my energetic field. Now, getting back to the point, while this is happening, he looks at me, and I can hear him very clearly saying, we're speaking telepathically. It's okay. We're speaking telepathically. And my next thing, that being very, very silly, I looked at him, and then I started to freak out. I know that may sound a little bit silly, but I did. And it took me about 3 seconds, and 1 second, I can hear someone's dog. So the next thing that happened was I pushed my energetic field outward. So when you're doing that, roughly what you're doing is you're connecting your own energy, your own aura, your own chakras, directly to source. And this only takes a second. You roughly just think, connected, and boom, there it is. And when I did that, he realized, okay, she's panicking. I need to gain control over the situation. So while this being is sitting right in front of me, he shapeshifts to looking identical to my husband. And at first this made me feel comfortable because I thought, oh, okay, it's you. This must be a dream. It's okay. But then as he's speaking to me and he's trying to tell me of, you've just had some healing done, you're okay, we're just realigning your body, we're just making it so that you're healthy again. I was always, well, when I was little, I'm a lip reader. Sometimes I can be inattentive, and so it's easier for me to really stay focused in the moment if I occasionally go from looking at someone's eyes to looking at their lips to being very attentive as to what they're saying. And the moment I looked at his lips, I realized, he's not speaking. He's not speaking. Oh, one sec, we're gonna wait till those people pass. Hey, sorry about that, we just had some people walking their dog. Anyway, so this being had shapeshifted into me and my husband, and at first I was really comforted by this. I thought, okay, this is all right. But then when I looked at his lips and I realized that that's not my husband, I started to panic again. And you may be thinking, okay, well, why are you panicking? It's so amazing you have an extraterrestrial. Well, you'd be surprised what people do when they're just thrown out of their comfort. So what I did was I started doing rapid pillars of light around my house. So within each corner, I dropped a white pillar straight from source, straight to the center of the earth, through each corner of my home. And as I did that, I connected them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, the 4 in like this, connect to one another and like this, and pulled the white light from the corners into a center beam, which was coincidentally located inside my heart chakra. And while I did that, I blasted the energy out like a shockwave. You may be wondering, okay, well, why would you do that? Well, if you want to remove the presence of anything, of a vibration that is not identical to your own or very similar to your own, you're able to push things away energetically. And that is what I was doing to him. And the second that the energy from my heart chakra, pushed outward towards him, and when it touched his body, he instantly changed from looking like my husband back to being the white being, and he did something like this, where it's like, oh, he was not expecting that. And the next thing I noticed was slightly off to my left, I had this beautiful, beautiful plant that I had just gotten that week. And anyway, I saw it hit my plant, and the moment that the white energy hit the plant, the poor plant's life essence went out. And then this being, he looked at me, and he hugged me, and the part that kind of threw me off about this was I felt a little bit sad by it, and he told me to go back to sleep. And then when he did that, he took a finger, and he touched me right in the middle of the forehead. And instantly, I was out. I was asleep. I don't remember him leaving my room. I don't remember the vortex closing. But the next morning when I woke up, I remember feeling a little out of sorts. And I thought, okay, that was just the craziest dream. This couldn't possibly have happened. Until I looked over to my left, and then I looked at my plant, which was completely healthy and vibrant the day before, and it was a dried up, shriveled plant in the corner. And as soon as I saw the plant, I realized that, oh God, this wasn't a dream. And I showed my husband, he asked what happened to the plant. And when I told him, he understood. So, that's alright, but it did really throw me off. And then, later that night, he and I were watching Netflix just to unwind in the living room again, and I saw that same streak of vertical white energy, and the moment it appeared, I looked at it and I said, oh no, 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 not tonight. I am not okay with this right now. I am way too freaked out. I'm scared. And I felt the energy of the being kind of pull itself together, and it left, which was good. I'm glad he really respected my feelings and my concerns. But that's one of the ways in which contact can be interesting, because you think that at all times you're going to be completely comfortable, and wow, there's actually starting to be a lot of mosquitoes out now. You may feel like, okay, you're comfortable and you're good with this, but for me in that moment, it was way too much for me to process, and that was as much as I could handle at that time. Well, I'm getting eaten alive by mosquitoes, so I'm going to have to let you go. It's lovely talking to you. Peace, love, and light.